All right, rowing injuries. One of the most common rowing injuries that I see is at the back, and it can either be instability at the back where the bones are kind of shifting around and people just need more core strength and stability. But oftentimes what I see is a herniated disc or a bulging disc. And that's represented by this red thing here. And what happens is if we spend too much time flexing our spine, what happens is, or let's just say the disc in your spine is like a jelly donut. There's a little bit of like a jelly, watery-like material. So if we squeeze on the front side of a jelly donut, we would expect the jelly to be pushed more towards the back. And if we do that time and time and time again, what's going to happen is that jelly is going to squirt out. And so the same thing happens to the disc. If we're constantly squeezing down on the front of our spine here, that squeezes the jelly-like material out the back. Now, how does that happen with rowers? So rowers, well, oftentimes when they're coming in here, they'll often get over compressed, and their top portion of their body will sink down, and their legs are underneath them like this, and they're rounding out the back as opposed to keeping a good high posture, and so we're not over compressing. Another thing is that when you push back, if your hamstrings are tight, what that's going to do, since your hamstrings are attached to your pelvis, if this is your pelvis here and the hamstrings attached on the back side of your pelvis is going to get pulled towards the back, which is going to round out your spine. So if your pelvis, which is right here, gets pulled this way, it causes that. It rounds out your spine. Again, you're compressing the front portion of the disc, you're squishing the jelly towards the back, and if you do that enough of times, out. And if that jelly material impinges upon one of these spinal nerves that join together and form your sciatic nerve coming down your leg, you can get pain, numbness, weakness in your leg. It really affects your ability to row. So what we want to do is, in addition to getting good core strength, we probably have to lengthen up the hamstrings, do specific exercises which create more extension at the spine to kind of get that jelly material sucked back in. And we need to review your form. Same thing with all sports. If your form, no matter if it's your throwing form, your running form, your rowing form, if your mechanics aren't good and sound, it doesn't matter how much strength and flexibility and mobility that we give you, you're going to still create stresses. Now, oftentimes you have poor form and it created all this, and we have to still lengthen your hamstrings, do specific strengthening exercises, and then we have to break your pattern. So you're used to rowing a specific way and you're just kind of ingrained. So when you hop in the boat, even though you have all this mobility again, you're going to kind of get back in that same rut that you were doing. So you really need to pay attention to your mechanics. And if you don't have a good, I would say make sure you work with your coach if you like and trust them to help you with your mechanics. Have them watch you on slow motion analysis so they can kind of see what's happening. They can go through it with you to see what areas we need to improve more. But that's one of the most common things that I see in rowers are these herniated discs which cause pain down the back of the leg. It's like a line of pain you can kind of draw, and it just happens from too much bending.